What's going on, chicken friends? It's Donna Little from the Coop Scoop, and I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas. We had a nice, quiet day. We visited a little family, and then we came home and ate a big fat steak, and that is all I needed to make my Christmas wonderful. But I'm out here hanging out with my girls, even though it's a little dreary. And I saw a reel yesterday on Instagram. This what prompted me to do this video. And the lady was basically saying in her reel that she had, a large flock of chickens, around 100, and that she is barely getting any eggs right now because of, the time of year. The light is, the days are short, and the weather's getting cold. And she just lets that be what it is. She doesn't supplement light. So that her chickens will lay more eggs because she realizes their bodies need to rest. And so I always go to the comments when I see stuff like this because I like to see other people's opinions, and it got heated. Everybody was arguing and everybody was giving their point of view, and one person even said, it's people like you that give real chicken keepers a bad name. If my chickens aren't laying eggs or giving me meat, then they're basically, worthless. And so I'm just like, okay, I got to weigh in on this. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, and you don't have chickens or you're new to chicken keeping, your chickens are going to just naturally, when there's less daylight hours and it starts to get cold, their bodies conserve their energy, and hey, honey, and they are going to lay either fewer eggs or no eggs. So that is why a lot of people don't get as many eggs in the wintertime. Now, I tend to be on team no supplementing light, but my circumstances make that really easy for me to make that decision. And that's what I mean by, just because it's your opinion that that's how you should do things, it doesn't mean that everybody's circumstances are going to be just like yours. My circumstances are, I have 26 chickens. I was getting 1 or 2 eggs a day up until my pullets just started laying, and now I'm getting about 8 or 9 eggs a day, which is fantastic. If I go back down to getting 1 or 2 eggs a day, that's going to be okay, because my circumstances are, I have a freeze dryer, first of all, so I have probably a couple thousand eggs freeze dried. So I'm not going to run out of eggs for a long time. So I don't need to supplement light and, make them lay eggs during the winter. It's okay with me if they don't. Now, I do realize, that not everybody has a freeze dryer. But if you are somebody like me that you think to yourself, I don't really want them to have to lay eggs if their body is telling them not to lay eggs, but I need to get eggs from them, then, there are definitely things you can do. You can freeze your eggs. I have not, I'm going to be honest, ever frozen my eggs, so I can't weigh in on how they turn out, but I do know some people do that. You can just crack them and put them in like an ice tray individually, and that way take them out once they're frozen and put them in a baggie, and they're probably, I'm going to guess, not that great to just eat. I don't know, but I feel like they would be great if you're using them for bacon or, to put in a recipe or something like that. You can also water glass eggs if you need them for storage. So if you don't know what that is, there's a zillion videos on water glassing, so you can just go look those up and learn how to do that. It's very simple. But if you need eggs stored up and you're getting a surplus during the warmer months where the days are longer, then just, stick you a few aside that will hopefully get you through the winter if you don't want to supplement. Now, one of the reasons, like I said, that I don't supplement light is that I'm going to have enough eggs with my freeze dryer. But aside from that, I really want my chickens to be able to do what their body is just naturally telling them to do. So, like I said, if I stopped getting eggs right now today, then I would just have a winter where I just relied on my freeze-dried eggs, and I would be perfectly fine with that. I know that it takes a lot of their energy. We have got some birds just, they're like having a field day out here, arguing apparently with each other. But if it takes the energy that I've seen it take my chickens, especially this year, to molt, I just want them to be able to use that energy to grow feathers back. If we're going to have a particularly cold winter, and we are going to have some really cold days, in about 10 days from now, I think we're supposed to get really, really cold here. I want them to be able to use the energy that they need to use to stay warm. I don't want them to have to lay eggs when their body is telling them not to lay eggs. That is my opinion. That is how I feel about it. That doesn't mean that somebody that does supplement light is wrong, though, because your circumstances and the reason you have chickens might be completely different than mine. Now, I want mine to be here living out their natural life until they pass away. There are some people, though, that get a flock of chickens and they want them to live for a couple of years, and then they cull the flock, and that's going into the freezer, and that's going to be meat that feeds their family. And in the meantime, they're going to be raising up the next generation, and they're going to constantly have eggs. So if I was in that circumstance, and that's as long as I allowed my chickens to live, I probably would supplement light. And, just being honest, I probably would. And that way I would get the maximum amount of eggs from them. And before they were old and their bodies were really, really tired, then, you're culling them and they're going in the freezer and, on to the next flock of chickens. I have mine as pets, so they're going to live their natural life out here. Some of them might live, hopefully, to 10 years old. And if that's the case, and I were to supplement light with them to encourage them to keep laying just as much during the winter as they do in the summer, then they're going to run out of eggs, because chickens only have so many eggs. They only produce so many in their lifetime. And that's usually in the vicinity of 1,000, maybe 1,500 if you have the more high production egg layers. So they would run out of eggs long before their lifespan. And you're just going to have a bunch of freeloaders, which is probably going to be the case with me anyway, but that is perfectly okay by me. But I am, like I said, getting more eggs right now only because of my new layers, and they'll probably continue to lay just because of their age throughout the winter, even if it's not as many as they'll give me during the summer. But if you are also in a circumstance where, you are like, I can't afford to feed a flock of chickens if they're not given back, and at the same time, you're concerned for their health and their well-being, then I would say maybe supplement for short periods of time, the light. I've done it one time, and the circumstances were this. I had pullets that had been laying for a few months, and then they didn't start to molt until it was really already getting cold. And when they molted, when they got through molting and should have started laying again, it was in the dead of winter. And so they didn't pick up laying again. And they were young, and I only had, I think at the time, like 6 or 8 chickens. And I just thought, I really do want to get some more eggs from them. So I supplemented their light, and I've had it on a timer. And I would just let it come on in the morning, like a couple of hours before the sun came up. And that was all it took to prompt them to start laying again. And they laid again, and then I did it for a couple of weeks, and then I just stopped. And then they continued to lay. So if you're in a circumstance like that where you just kind of really are like, I need to feed my family some eggs, and I really don't have the money to be feeding chickens that aren't doing that, then I would say, kind of go easy on it. But yeah, supplement if you absolutely have to. But, everybody's, like I said, everybody's circumstances are different. So everybody's point can be valid. It just depends on why you have your chickens. I mean, if I wanted them to lay, for as many years as possible, I definitely wouldn't supplement either, because, like I said, you're using up those eggs in their younger years. And, once their eggs are all gone, they're all gone. So, there's that. But, that is my opinion on it. That's where I weigh in on that. But I do also understand, everybody has a different reason for doing things the way they do them. As long as you're caring for your chickens and you're doing the best that you could do for them, I say be on whichever team works best for you. I hope you guys are enjoying our content. And if you are, hit that subscribe button and notification bell if you haven't already, so you don't miss anything in the future. Have a fantastic day, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.